I'll be honest, I had heard about this show. I was talking Spider-Noir. But I wasn't particularly interested. So luckily you got me kind of interested to check it out. And I was also looking for something because I wasn't particularly excited with the way that the boys kind of ended. So I was kind of also like, oh, maybe this will kind of mouthwash the boys. I didn't hate it, but I wasn't particularly like blown away by it. So yeah, you
Yeah,
got
let's
me
not go
into
down that rabbit hole.
no, no. I'm kind of glad I never did a full coverage of that. But you got me to watch Spider-Noir, which is something so freaking interesting. This Nicolas Cage is back as a Spider-Man character. Now, you have to I don't remember for sure. This isn't his first time as Spider-Noir, right? Didn't he do like an animated voice in some movie?
So he was in Into the Spider-Verse and I think Across the Spider-Verse. I think he
Hold
had a
on, this is
cameo where he
Amazon,
played.
so this is I probably have to do stills. Amazon's gonna copyright. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was the Into and Across the Spider-Verse movies. They had a Spider Noir character. Now there are some interesting differences that I'll talk about in a bit, but that's I think where I don't know if that's where the I don't think it's where the comics start. I think they've had these comic book stories of this character for a long time, but um, it was definitely I think a newer, fresher take that a lot of people haven't had any real exposure to, especially fleshed out like they did in the show. So it was very unique seeing it in the movies, and the way they kind of carry out this character in this television show, I thought was pretty interesting. I'm going to ask a really important question right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch it in black and white or true hue?
I watched it in color. No, I'm kidding. I didn't.
Oh,
I 100%
boo.
watched it in black and white. I refused when I first saw the still of Spider Noir. I'm like, dude, you gotta watch this in black and white. This is not something
Yeah,
you
that's
watch
the
in
way to do
color.
it.
Oh yeah.
Uh, my wife did want me to bounce around a little bit 'cause she wanted to see what it looked like in color. And I will say one of the cool things is like mid episode, you can hop down and switch, and it picks up right where you're at in the other
Oh, that's cool.
either color or black and white mode. So I did really appreciate that. The color I didn't think worked as well. I think it makes things seem a lot cheesier. You can definitely tell where I don't know how much of it was budgetary constraints and how much was stylistic. Some of the effects just seemed a little lackluster, but I think it was partially just because that was the
Can I
aesthetic they were going
bef-
for.
just to kind of build upon you talking about the effects? That's one thing I don't mean to cut you off. You might have been going somewhere with your thought. I loved how minimalist the show was. Like the
And it
effects
works really good in
it,
black and
it
white.
works so freaking good and like
Like
none of the
Electro's powers, is that what you're thinking
yeah
of?
Electro's powers. There's only really a couple parts I can think of where I saw effects, and that's Electro, Flint, and maybe the scene where oh gosh, what's her name, the Flint's wife or girlfriend, what's her name, I can't think of it,
Oh, I've forgotten.
Cat, the part where
Cat.
Cat
Yes.
falls out of the window. That's like one of the only scenes I can remember ever seeing an
I'm sure
effect.
there's more special effects than we notice because I mean a lot of them are pretty subtle now.
That's
I'm
great.
sure
It
the whole city's probably special effects or CGI, but
can
it
can
plays
I?
really well
Oh,
in
sorry,
black
go
and
ahead.
white.
I
No,
just
go
wanted
ahead.
to contrast the idea of like that was a problem I had with the boys. Is the boys? I kept watching this new season of the show, and my thought kept being like, this show is supposed to be insanely expensive, but like for some reason you couldn't see the money on screen for that show for that
Mhm.
season. It didn't. It's like why is this show so expensive? But like it feels like it's like this tiny little they're always in like this one room set when you have like the most powerful superhero ever here, and uh, at least for this show because the world feels very minimalist and it's old timey, it fits the world and the and everything so perfectly. The fact that everything is more grounded and real, uh, less, I don't know, animations and stuff. Sorry, does that any of that fit?
Yeah, no, I see where you're going with it. And I agree. I mean, I think the overall aesthetic and the choices they made from both a, special effects standpoint or I think some practical stuff, I think was done really well. I think my point, and if I didn't clarify, I don't think a lot of it sold as well in color. So, if once again, I'm just kind of trying to sell, if you are going to watch this show, definitely do the black and white. If you want to hop around and kind of, see the difference and the kind of in moment to moment, see how things play out per scene with different color choices. That's cool, but lean on black and white. That's definitely the way I think the show was intended to be done.
Yeah. My problem is that I could see how like watching this in color could make some of the imperfections of like the modern makeup and the modern effects on some of the characters. I could see how that could make some of it stand out. Is what I would think with the stuff that's in color versus like in black and
Yeah,
white. It
well, that's what I'm
makes
saying.
hides all the imperfections. Yeah. No, I see.
That's what I'm saying. It sells better in black
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
white. Like
Yeah.
as soon as you put it in color, it doesn't have that same aesthetic, and then I
Mm-hmm.
think you're more critical of like, well, that looks a little weird in this environment now because the color just frames it different. It looks more modern, and we have a different expectation for what modern special effects should look like. So it doesn't come across as a stylistic choice in the same way,
Yeah.
whereas in black and white, it does.
Yeah. And I don't really have, I'll be honest, I don't really have a ton to say. I really enjoyed the show. It was great. Other than like some of the looks and the overall, like we were just talking about, the only other big thing I cared about talking about with this show is like, it's so crazy to see Nicolas Cage in this role. Like, and don't get me wrong, it's not crazy because he's kind of become a connoisseur of jumping onto strange
Mhm.
acting gigs. Like he has been like he did what the Five Night at Freddy's and like a bunch of other weird stuff. He did that pig movie. Like he's kind of gotten well known for just he's like Keanu at this point where it's like why are you in
Yeah,
this?
he's
Don't
probably
get me
having
wrong.
fun
This
with
is
it, which I can appreciate, and he does a great job.
he does a great job here. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's still Marvel. He still got paid probably $20 million or something crazy to be in this. But like
So
it
I do
does
want
feel
to hop
very
on that.
small though.
It's so a couple of interesting things about because you said it's Marvel. It is and it isn't. So that's actually one of
Is it still
the most
Sony
interesting thing.
probably or whatever?
So here's the interesting thing about this particular take on even Spider Noir. So in the Across and Into the Spider-Man movies, when they have the Spider Noir character, it is Spider Noir, but it is Peter Parker. It's not Peter Parker in this show. It's Ben Riley. Do you know anything about
Mm.
Ben Riley?
Do I know anything about Ben
Like from the
Riley?
comics?
No, not at all.
So I won't go down it. He's basically a clone of Peter Parker in different comic mythologies and whatnot.
Mm.
And I won't go down all that. But there's a reason they did Ben Riley and not Peter Parker. They couldn't. Marvel had a big issue with them using Peter Parker
Oh, really?
in this context because this is not how Peter Parker is supposed to be, presented as far as Marvel's concerned, where he's, not gruesomely violent. He doesn't swear. He doesn't drink. I mean, he's pretty clean cut for the most part in all the Marvel movies. This normal Peter Parker, this representation of Spider-Man, which once again they couldn't even call Spider-Man, they had to call the Spider, because once again it painted the wrong picture of what Spider-Man should be in the Marvel universe. So that's what allowed them to get away with, a Spider-Man who could drink, who could swear, who could
Ah,
basically
okay.
kill people.
Which
I
that
mean, he
worked
got people
out.
killed in this. Yeah,
He was so good in this show. Like
yeah. This
I
show
don't
wouldn't
know.
have worked if they tried to do the squeaky clean Peter Parker side. Like it worked because he's pretty messed up. Like I won't straight up say immoral, maybe, but he definitely has some gray choices that he makes throughout it, which I think allows him to have a lot more fun. They're able to do
The
stuff in this
best
that they can't usually do in a Marvel movie.
scene in this show is a scene that doesn't involve the villains. It's a scene in a bar towards the end of the season, in my opinion. That's the best scene in the whole season. Like the whole thing of seeing us seeing someone kind of I don't know, like I don't know. We don't have to dive into spoilers, but just the whole aspect of seeing him defend himself when he's like blasted drunk is and I don't know the dichotomy of how again how small the story is. It's just a superhero drunk in a bar and chaos breaks out and like the simplicity of it is fantastic. I don't know.
Yeah. And this show, once again, you got to see some stuff that once again you won't see in a regular Marvel show. It had some body horror tangential stuff in there. The slitting of the throat early on by Silvermane, I thought
Which
was.
they don't build on silver or gosh that's not a spoiler. They don't really build on anything because there's no way the way it ends with him that's how it ends. There's no
I do
chance
think
of
the
it.
ending was a little. If that's how it plays out, it was a little simple, and it
He
definitely
didn't
leaves a
use any
lot
of his
lacking.
abilities or whatever he's supposed to be capable of at the end. It was so weird. I don't know.
Maybe in this universe he didn't have any abilities. I don't know. They
He
didn't
did.
really
He
make him
cut some
akin.
guy's throat and kept him alive when he was dead. He
Who are you
did have
talking about?
abilities.
Who did he keep alive?
There was a scene of the
Talk about
investigative
the flame dude?
no, the
Oh no.
investigative
Oh yeah.
detective that Ben Riley meets early on in the story, he ends up getting
Didn't he
captured by
keep him alive?
Silvermane. They beat him to death. His goons beat the man to
I think
death,
the point. I
and
don't think he was
Silvermane
dead.
stuck him. No, Silvermane stuck him with his nightstick or whatever, and
Yeah,
it
because
brought
he
him to
wasn't really
life.
dead. I don't think he was dead. I think
No,
they
he
thought
was.
he was dead.
Oh, I
I
thought
think
he
they
was
thought he was dead because
legit
they basically
dead.
beat him to the point of death. And then, you couldn't wake him up by normal means. If you get
Hmm.
stabbed, that's a different stimuli that's going to wake you up. So I think that was the point. He wasn't using a power. He was like, let's see if he's really dead, and poked him,
But
and
I
he
thought
jumped up.
they zoomed in on his arm and they saw like black stuff, like it looked like black veins or something. I don't know. I could have sworn I
I
remember.
didn't catch that. I think, from my perspective, was they thought he was dead, and it was kind of
Hmm.
Silvermane showing how ruthless he was. Be like, oh, you think he's dead? Let's really find out, and poke him.
Okay.
I think
I
it
don't.
was
I
really trying to
assumed he
set a
had like
tone for him.
abilities. I don't. This will be something we'll have to look up later because now I'm like curious.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I will say that overall, I really liked Silvermane as a villain. Like, I
He was
think
great. That
the
actor's
actor's
amazing.
portrayal was really
He's so
good.
good.
Um,
Mad Eye Moody
and
from
honestly,
Harry Potter.
yeah, I like him. A lot of people aren't going to agree with this, but I think I liked him and his kind of portrayal of Silvermane better than I liked the Kingpin representation in the Daredevil shows by
Mm-hmm.
what's his face? Oh, I'm losing it. You know what I'm talking
Um.
about though.
I can't remember the actor's name, but yeah, I know who you're talking
Soprano
about.
guy. Um,
It'll
like I
come
never
to
liked
me.
that portrayal, to be honest. I always thought it was almost a little off-putting. He didn't come across as smart enough for me or intelligent. He always just seemed kind of brutish and dumb. But Silvermane seemed like a very calculated, still like really brutal in his choices and how he
You can
interacts with
see
his
how he could have
guys.
gotten to his stature, like the whole part where he's breaking down Ben Riley at his club when he's like, I think I know who you are. You wouldn't have done this unless you would have thought about this and done this and that.
Yeah, he was cunning,
I'm
he
like, oh
was
my goodness.
smart, he was brutal, but he was also he had like a code. He was
He's
kind
like,
of
I'm gonna
loyal. So
threaten this
like,
chick, and you're saying that you're a loner and you only care about yourself, where you wouldn't do anything if I did this. See, that kind of stuff. It's great. Yeah.
yeah, so really well presented as a character. Oh, there was something else I
Who
wanted to
was the
ask.
character Lonnie? Because I know we had Electro, we had Sandman. Who was he? Was he supposed to be the
Oh,
lizard?
I don't know. I didn't look it up.
Because
Because
look at his
technically the one guy wasn't even Electro. He was what they call Megawatt or something like
megawatt.
that. Um, so I don't know. I don't know if he was
His
going for like a
eyebrows,
scorpion
his
kind of thing
eyebrows
with like
were
the
curved
armor.
in like a
Rhino.
lizard.
He might have been Rhino.
Oh, maybe he was Rhino.
What was Rhino's name in the comics? I don't know.
I thought he was
I'm gonna
lizard
look it up
because
real quick.
he had like bumpy eyebrows, which lizards
But he was
have.
like shielded. I don't
His
know.
yeah. You can
I'm
look
gonna
it up
check
real
really
quick.
quick.
Who was Lonnie? I have no idea.
I was looking at the wrong Rhino. No, that was Alexis. I don't know.
Oh,
Honestly, it doesn't matter to me enough.
no,
I
no,
thought it was interesting though. The spin on the villains, that was good. Just overall, it was a good time, a good like spin on the Spider-Man ethos. I don't know how accurate it is to the comics, but I enjoyed it.
hmm. I really liked the show. I thought it was great. Again, I like that it was like slice of life. It was very small. Like you're joining a Spider-Man that is like well past his prime. Well, was he ever in his prime? Did he have a
Not in
prime?
this. Yeah, well, the whole point was he'd been out of it for 5 years after what
Hmm.
Ruby died or something. Lots of
Okay.
spoilers here. Sorry.
No, some
So we're
spoilers.
definitely out of Prime.
All the side characters are
I
great. I loved Robbie Robertson. I liked
mm,
his assistant, at the office. One of the
yeah,
other better scenes is her or Spider or Ben Riley essentially thinking he just told her he's Spider-Man when she's like, "Oh no, I knew that."
yeah,
And
I already knew
there's
that.
like a cut scene of like all these different times he's like drunk in his room like saying, I'm the Spider and just making a fool of himself. He's great.
Um, so my question then to wrap it up: do you want a season two out of this? Or are you happy with how they left it?
Oh, do I want a season 2? I don't think so. I feel like it wrapped up pretty good. Um, Even with like the way that like Ben Riley and Kat kind of ended off, I felt like was kind of I feel like it was a little sudden, but it kind of needed to be. Like her betrayal of him felt kind of like, oh, I guess that kind of ruined that friendship.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It felt fine. Like I don't think I need to see anymore. I guarantee you will. There's no way Silvermane is gone at the end. I didn't think that felt like that was how
Even if
things
he
were.
was, I mean, they could bring other villains in. But I agree. I think this season, for one, it wrapped up well. It told its story how it wanted to tell it. It was a fun peek or kind of view into this Spider-Man, but I don't feel like I need more. Would I watch more? Probably, but you end up in then that very tricky thing where a show then drags on well past its intent, and then you end up with stuff like The Boys that just went on too long. Should have been 3 seasons shorter than it should have
I
been. And it
will
loses the
say
point.
I will say what this show has that not many other shows in this kind of position have is Nicolas Cage. The dude is a madman. That's the one thing that that like Cage, you could pay Cage $40 in a back alley to play in a movie and he will act his behind off, and whatever, he just does such a great job it almost is like it's funny because people used to make fun of him for being such a, what do they call it? What's the actor thing where it's somebody who goes too serious on a role? It's what they used to call who's the guy that played the Joker died? Heath Ledger.
Heath
So
Ledger.
what do they
Yep.
call him? I don't know. There's some actor thing they call him of people who like live too much in their characters and whatnot. But
Oh, you're talking about method actor.
method acting, yeah. Like
Yeah.
Nick Cage does method acting, but he's so much of a madman that it's just
Mhm.
like it's enthralling. I don't know. It's crazy.
I will say, I think if he does a whole another season of this,
Could
don't
it
get
be
me wrong, he does a
tiring? Could
great
it come off
job.
as tiring because of his age?
I think we've gotten this shtick, like 8 episodes of it. We got to see him kind of play that role. We'll probably get to see him a little more in the Across the Spider-Verse movie too, because he voices that character. I feel like that's enough. Like, could there be some more good stuff to pull out of it? Sure, but I think you're then really stepping or kind of side skirting. Well, maybe
I
I'm going to
feel
get
like Nick
too
is
much.
smart enough to also like be like, I had a good time with this. You guys can find someone else. You know what I mean? He comes off as
Yeah.
someone who bounces around projects so much. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he only signed on for. I guarantee you they'll want him to sign back on, but I guarantee he only jumped on for one.
Good show, highly recommended.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't. There's not really like it's a really great show. I loved it. I don't think you really need to talk about it too much. Go watch it. It's definitely worth. I was definitely recommending it to people who even like don't like superhero stuff. I'm like
Yeah.
it's not really like a superhero show for the
A
most
lot of the
part.
show, like he's not even really doing spidery stuff. He's doing detective stuff. So if you like kind of that old timey gumshoe kind of feel, it plays really well with that.
No, yeah, for sure.
Well, well. Looks like you've reached the end, haven't you? You imbeciles. On Enter ChazmaN, you'll witness gaming brilliance beyond your comprehension. ChazmaN Live brings the drama. Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays at 5:30 p.m. EST. Longplays delivers full journeys, uncut and unspoiled. Join the Patreon, Discord, Instagram, and TikTok below, if you can manage it. Still not following Enter ChazmaN? Then mediocrity clearly suits you.